Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Welcome to Home Sweet Kersh, Episode 6. We have a full roster of players. I'm going to undeafen myself. Could I have everybody please introduce themselves and their characters?
I am Xarder. I'm playing Athena, a druid.
Let's just go from the bottom. Satet.
Oh, sorry. I am Satet, playing Satet, and I am a half-elf cleric of...
I am Morkosh. I'm a half-orc fighter of Kersh.
I am Institute. I'm playing Horgold Wolfswift, and I'm a human rogue.
I am Holog Hall, playing Holog Hall, a human fighter.
I am George Mallory, and this is Alfonso. He moves whenever I move my hand. He starts talking. He's a sorcerer.
All right. Does anybody not have inspiration that was here last week? Or at least listened to last week?
I mean, I thought I got inspiration last week, but it's not there on my character sheet.
I think you have inspiration, George. You've done. Yeah, I know you've done the recap at least once. If not, somebody can just do the recap. That also works.
I could try. I'm not sure if I remember everything correctly.
Go for it.
Well, we ended up last time on a farm, and we had a portal that we already discovered. We didn't know where it went. After some help from Carlotte, Natasha's daughter, we opened up the portal and got through. We ended up in a conference at a portal stage or the device that they often use, of course, to travel from city to city. And we seen there it's like a carriage, but it was metal and steamy, and it runs on tracks. And yeah, we investigated the area, got to the inn, and we tracked down the green brass armor guys that we already seen in the city to one building. In a building, we discovered that Enya was there, and she made us not a deal, but a proposition to join her side. And well, after that almost death encounter, we went back to the inn to discuss it, and then we heard a loud explosion outside.
Yep. So you guys are currently in the Color Animal Inn, and you have just felt a rumble through the ground and heard an explosion outdoors of some sort or other. What you guys gonna do?
If it's anything like the thing that happened in Kersh, there's probably something that fell from the sky. I'd like to run out the door and see if I can't go help if it's going to be something similar.
Right.
I'm following.
You run out the door. Off in the distance near the center of town, you see a giant cloud of smoke or dust kind of billowing up above the skyline of the city. It's probably a good half mile or more from here.
I went out. I'm just looking questioningly at the others. Should we go?
Yeah, I believe so. Yes.
Well, I went out to look, saw what happened. I'm running towards the cloud. I don't care if anyone else is following me.
All right.
Yeah, I will follow, and I will send my bird.
Let's see, which spell can I ready? I'm thinking Thunderwave.
Just remember that
Is there-
you don't have to ready it unless we're actually in turn order. So,
Oh, okay.
so you guys start going towards this plume of dust, and as you are getting closer, you guys see that this plume of dust seems to be centered around where the train station was that you guys were at yesterday. As you get closer, you see others running in the same direction you are. City Guard, also a lot of Anya's troops. They are all converging on this area. As you get within viewing distance of the stage, you see that there is a large crater just before the actual platform. The platform itself is damaged. The teleportation ring itself is not, or that area is. The person who was standing at the teleportation ring is like knocked out back behind, like he's knocked out on the ground nearby. The carriage cars behind the engine, where you're assuming the engine of this train was, there's 3 of them that are derailed and kind of sitting askew. The one that was in the very front, the front of it has been blown open, and there are body parts strewn about the ground. And there are a lot of people converging on this scene. What are your passive perceptions? Who has the highest passive perception? I think it's probably Satet.
I believe I have 14.
Satet's would be 15, I believe.
Yeah, if I remember right, Satats is 15.
How do I know my passive?
Your passive is 10 plus your perception score, or perception modifier.
Oh yeah, so I'm 15.
All right. So Satet, you see Anya striding from where she lives towards this scene, coming down the street. I would say about half of the people who are converging on this place are her, like the people wearing green and brass colorations, and the other half are probably City Guard. Everybody else is leaving this area. People are picking themselves up off the ground, like they're clearing out of buildings. The explosion seems to be such that it didn't actually damage anything other than the rail platform. It looks like they cleared enough space that the crater didn't damage any buildings nearby.
Is there like shrapnel, like maybe the train blew up or anything like that? Can I see it?
Yes, so there are pieces of metal and pieces of wood and shrapnel embedded in the ground, in the nearby buildings. For several blocks you guys have passed, there are shattered, like any glass windows have been shattered, any like oil paper windows have been burst.
Is it possible to look at the ruined train and see if any pieces are out of place? Or, in other words, to find out, is this an outside attack or did one of the engines just blow?
Give me an investigate roll. You're still up the street a little bit, I'm assuming. So you're not able to determine anything from here. You're going to have to get a lot closer. And there are people there are a lot of people around.
I'm going to say quietly, but loud enough for most of the group to hear. Anya's behind us.
As you're saying that, she is arriving on scene, and she is starting to like she heads into the ruined train car and is starting to pull people out of it. Like she's working to help people out of the train car.
If she pulls him out, I'm going to go start help bandaging and taking care of him.
Okay.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to start using medicine skills.
Yeah, I will look to my bird's eye and see if there are any people out of the ordinary. leaving this.
Give me your bird's perception. So
Really need to bookmark that page.
Yep, you guys, anybody who's approaching the train can start helping. They hand you, you're like, they're setting up like triage, and you guys, as you start doing like obviously healing things, they start bringing people over to you.
I can't heal, but I do have healing kits.
Yep, they would treat you, if you start using that, they would start treating you as if you were a doctor or cleric.
If the town guard's all here, then that means that the rest of the town is not defended well.
13. You do see. No, I'm gonna roll it. Contested rolls are fun. Nope, you don't see anybody out of the ordinary leaving the area. Those of you who approach the crater, you see basically an explosion pattern leaving the train car itself. If you're helping out with healing, let me know. Give me like a healing roll, or say you're using magical healing. If you're like investigating the explosion, let me know and roll investigate, please.
Who wants my medical kits? I want to investigate this thing.
I'm gonna investigate as well. I'm not the healer
You can
type.
probably leave those. Leave one or two with Athena, because she's helping the wounded. Anybody critically injured will get a heal. It's a spell. People that are just wounded just get stabilized.
Yeah, if you two are investigating, then I won't. I'll stay and heal.
All right, so you find that people are either almost uninjured or they're pieces. So you find that there are not very many people who are critically injured. The most injured people were in the rail car itself, and they are definitely hurt, broken bones, concussed. Nobody is in critical danger of dying at this moment. Investigate with an 11.
Ooh, now I want to go count pieces.
You see that there with an 11. Investigation is not good. All right. You see that there looked like there were multiple people blown away from this center of this explosion with that 11. You find, enough left arms that you're pretty sure it was more than a couple people. All right. Lots pretty good medicine checks. After probably half an hour of helping people, local clerics of who would they be clerics of here? Hold on a second. Gotta look at my gods list. Local clerics of Yakit start showing up and start dishing out magical healing. So then they work basically, as you guys worked on triage and organizing the people, they start working at the most injured people, and they start working their way back to the thing. And every time they heal somebody, it's like the power of Yakit heals you, and that sort of thing. And people are starting to pick up. There's still definitely some broken bones and injuries, but people are starting to recover. And Anya is kind of she literally ripped open the side of the train car and was hauling people out, and she is off to the side, kind of away from other people. She has a couple of her servants around her. The rest of her people are helping finalize and cleaning up and doing that sort of thing. And the city guard has started to disperse back to their normal locations.
Does any of these severed arms still have like clothing or markings on?
There still has clothing on it. If you spend some time, I guess you've had a half an hour here. You find axe heads and hafts in amongst the piles. Probably find an axe head buried in a building nearby. And you've picked up a chunk of metal, probably 6 inches by 3 inches by 2 inches. That is slowly. It was when you got here, it was cold to the touch, and as you like see it, it starts condensing water out of the air, and then like frost is forming on it.
So probably magical?
Yes.
I'll ask one of our magic users to identify or something.
I run up to Anya and ask, do these things
As a
usually
ritual.
explode?
The guards stop you short of her. Detect magic. It is transmutation magic. And it appears to be some sort of cold spell. You're thinking. All right. So back to George. So you start approaching Anya, and she's her guards kind of stop you. Basically stop you short, and you ask your question, and she kind of like looks up at you and shakes her head, and says, not unless somebody makes them explode.
I'd like to ask her what was on the train that they'd be targeting.
Well, I run back to the train, giving her away. Back to you guys.
So,
Wave and a nod.
what was on the train? She kind of shrugs and says progress and starts walking away.
Okay, so what do you guys find?
Some cold device. And something that probably needs heat. I don't think that mixes.
From what you remember from yesterday, there were plates. This looks like a plate that was on near the wheels, where the drive axle actually entered and drove the wheels. That's a really good perception. I'm going to give you something for that. And the plate yesterday, you saw it. It was like rolling dry ice cold out of it, and as the train pulled away, it slowly went from very cold, and it started going up, like through the colors of heat as the train started pulling out. Perception. George, you see a person standing off in the distance, kind of watching the scene, and as you kind of notice them, they turn and they disappear down an alleyway.
How quickly?
Well, it's one of those things where they were standing there, and you saw them like turn and just step behind the corner. So they weren't running. They just dodged into a side street, or not dodged into a side street, but they disappeared into a side street.
So suspicious, but not suspicious enough to cast hold person.
That's up to you.
Depends on how far they were from that alleyway.
Well, they were in the alleyway pretty much the moment after you saw them. They were probably 2 or 3 streets, maybe even a little further away from where you are currently, next to the train. Anya's guards, as the people who are injured start being helped, they start like clearing you guys. They're like kind of asking you to move away. It's like, okay, clear the space. We've done all we can for the people who are here.
Athena gives a
So,
glare at the first 2 guards that tries to shoo her away. Like,
guys, what did you notice? Out of character, I'm looking for axe heads here. Can I, have a powwow?
Give me an intimidate roll, Athena, if you want to try to not move away from while these guards were doing that.
yeah.
That's they back off and leave you alone. They clear you out. They basically leave you a space here.
I'm moving up, but not in the speed they want me to.
Right.
It's like, here I've been sweating my ass off, and you just want to throw me out? No.
All right. By now, Alfonso, if you spent any time kind of looking around, you've noticed the axe heads as well.
Then I make my way to where Anya is.
She has left.
Not towards the trains. Which way did she leave?
She left back towards the building you guys saw her in before.
Are we all kind of together?
Oh, dang.
Yes, you guys are all kind of together.
Bitrate dance.
Yay,
Download
bitrate
it.
dance.
I just keep changing it from 1 to a slightly higher one every time I hear someone.
Right.
Jump.
Try changing it slightly lower as well, because...
Yeah, next
Okay.
time will be.
So
4 or 5
is
lower.
is it obvious to us now that that a dragon has not fallen from the sky and slammed into this location?
Yes, it looks nothing, it looks nothing like the previous catastrophe that you guys dealt with. Well, it
Looks like
superficial differences, or superficial similarities, but no, it does not look the same.
looks like sabotage though.
I don't think these trains normally carry axe heads.
No.
Maybe it was carrying woodcutters out to work.
The clothing that you guys were, for the people who were like in the train, the clothing was, I would say, upper middle class. It's the kind of people who spend a lot on clothing because they think it makes them look more wealthy than they are.
So unionized woodcutters.
I grew up as woodcutters. I think I would notice if these axe heads were woodcutting axe heads.
Yes, they look like
I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay.
they're not they're the sort of axe you probably split logs with, not the axe you fell a tree with. No, I think that's backwards. They're heavy maul axes. So yeah, the axes you would use to like split dense woods.
Yeah, mauls split are for splitting logs. Axes are for cutting down trees. Had to learn that the hard way when I moved to Arkansas.
Yep.
Any idea, guys?
Well, are we allowed to go towards the back of the train? See what this progress is?
The Anya's troops have kind of cleared a space around the train. If you walk up and ask, they say they're basically waiting for the workers and the people who know how to work the train to get the train cars retracked and to get the engine replaced and get tracks replaced, because there's probably a 2 or 3 foot down crate. Well, not probably, at least a foot down crater where the rails used to run.
Excuse me, good sir, but can we see the cargo?
No. Why would you need? What? Who are you to need to see the cargo on this train?
Good point. I shrug my shoulders and I walk off towards Anya's house, because really I don't think we're getting anywhere without her.
I can send my bird to investigate the cargo, if you're interested in it. It cannot open crates though, so if it's just crates, it's crates.
What about the old spider play?
Was waiting for that one.
All right, Alfonso, are you gonna wait for your friends to finish up here, or are you gonna go ahead and head to Anya's?
I'm heading to Anya's.
All right. Anybody else going with Alfonso?
I'm trying to convince him to stay a little while we investigate his inquiry.
Yeah, let's try to know what we're talking about a little bit before we go bothering her.
We're not particularly friends yet with Anya.
That's one of the things I mean to question her about.
All right, Birdie. So give me a stealth roll for your raven to try to blend into other birds. Are you transforming into a spider or similar, Athena?
Not sure yet.
Okay.
And that's also +3. Okay.
You successfully sneak your bird past the people who are watching the train. You get it. So it is. There were. Let me see. 3 disrailed passenger wagons, followed by 4 more passenger wagons that were not disrailed or derailed. Following that, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cargo wagons, and at the very end there was a I mean, it's a caboose. It's a wagon that looks neither like the passenger wagon nor the cargo wagons, but there were people inside of it who they had like a uniform on when you guys arrived. Your bird can get inside any of the passenger wagons. The cargo wagons, however, are still shut. Like the doors are shut, and there's not really a space for her, him, it, whatever, to like get inside.
Can I get into the last one, the caboose?
Yeah, you can get into the caboose. Inside you see, your bird sees some sort of like, there's like pulleys and levers and there's like control not a screen, but like a set of like gauges and dials and a whole bunch of various mechanical things in it. There's also a cot. Like the contents of the caboose are like strewn on the floor, but looks like there's was like food and water and similar stuff in the back. Enough probably seating for 3 or 4 people, as well as a couple like bunks and some storage.
So train operators, I guess. Well, yeah, there's nothing really I could see. We were interested in the cargo. I cannot get there, so I'll get my birdie back and I will tell that to the people.
Does it look like I could get in?
How small can you make yourself?
I think basically as small as I want. Because I think I can even make myself a fly when I get flying speed at level 8. But not now. But my vision of the shape change is I could become very small, but nothing quite like in chat. Turn myself into an ant.
Shape of a beast.
If the cargo is important, why isn't it blown up? Why did they blow up passenger cars?
It's the engine that was blown up.
I don't think I'm going to let you transform yourself into anything that's ant-sized. There's a little too much that would break.
Yeah, my vision is that the size limit is about the tarantula size.
That makes sense, or like
Thing.
a small rat, or like palm sized, I think.
Yeah.
Well, as far as I can tell, movement speed is broken when you transform. More on that when I'm level 14. Because that's when it breaks for me.
You turn yourself into an ant, you understand. This doesn't exceed what you're allowed. I mean, yeah, but for a first level ability, becoming an seems a little out of scope. I guess I'm not gonna tell you. Well, I think I am gonna tell you no. I'm thinking at this where you're level 4.
I'm thinking palm size, maybe when I get like.
I'm thinking you can now.
8 to 10, I can get half palm or something.
I'm thinking now you can get smaller than you could before now. So yeah, half palm size maybe. Size of like gopher or mole or so on and so forth.
Bigger. You do realize a tarantula is almost exactly a palm.
Yeah, so like half of that.
Yeah. So I can get to the size of half of a tarantula.
So like a wolf spider or a brown recluse.
Something like that.
So at that size, yeah, there's probably a vent or something you could crawl through. Although I will warn you that it's gonna be when you're that small, you don't have a very good movement speed, even if you are something fairly quick like a spider.
Plus, you get blown around by the wind. Just so many broken things that we'll need to address later.
All right, it's up to you. Alfonso, I think at this point is walking towards Anya's place.
I think I'm gonna pass because will take all of my concentration to get in, search, and get out.
All right. Anybody else following Alfonso?
Not yet. I was waiting for what Zeno was doing.
I'm just walking away. He has a calculating look as she slowly starts following Alfonso. Just shakes her head a bit and just snaps back to herself.
Okay. Alfonso, you find your path unblocked towards Athena's house.
Anya?
Not Athena's house. Anya's house. Sorry, there's too many A names. It's not allowed. There's too many A names. Anya's house. Sorry. You find your path, although you do find that she is like as you can see the house, like the guard. There's a lot of people standing guard outside of her house, and she has. Well, if you're assuming she's here, she's inside it somewhere.
I ask one of the guards, is Lady Anya here?
He nods his head.
Back straight, head up, I go inside.
He blocks. He just sticks an arm out. So he's like, he doesn't even say anything. He just blocks your entry.
I stare at him.
He stares back. You gonna try to?
You do realize that I do have You do realize that I have information that Lady Anya would like to know.
Give me your give me a charisma check. Persuade.
It's either persuade or deception.
Sure. If you're lying, then
I'm totally lying.
Then that would be deception.
Dang it!
Give him a roll. Oh no! Go away! Go away! Thank you. He kind of scoffs at what you said and seems resolute in his unwillingness to just let you pass.
Okay, why not?
Okay, and why not? What?
To the guard, I ask, okay, why not?
Because she said she did not want to be disturbed.
Even if it's good news?
I can ask. I'm not just going to let you in, though.
That's fair. Out of character, it's also really weird that he just, I lied to him and now he's still going with it, but okay.
I didn't say he was going with it. He's like, well, what is your information? Since you seem convinced that you have something good to share.
Well, the train was definitely attacked.
Yes, we figured that out ourselves.
But you can't figure out the rest, can you?
It's not my job to figure out the rest.
Well, it's somebody's job, and Anya's in there waiting for them, and I might help, so tell her there's good news. Or ask if she wants to see me.
He shakes his head and kind of nods at his companion standing at the door, who goes inside, and he opens the door in such a way that you can't really see past him as he goes in. And the guy continues to stare you down. What is his intimidate? Give me a charisma save, please. You are unintimidated. He's staring you down, he's staring down at you. He's not very intimidating. All right. Anybody else who wants?
I just look back and raise an eyebrow.
Anybody else who wants to be here may show up at this point. You see Alfonso staring down a man in green and brass standing outside of Anya's place.
I'm gonna chuckle a little bit when I view it.
All right, Holocall is Holocall is heading back to breakfast. Totally fair.
I'm with Athena, so I'm not sure where she was going.
I was following Alfonso, but
Yep. So
Well,
you arrive.
I see what he's doing. Just roll my eyes, just shake my head.
All right. So we have Satet. Where are you?
I was with Athena and the Athena as she was following Alfonso, right?
Yep. Okay. So Satet, Athena, Horgold, you walk up on the staring contest, and Morkosh and Holocall, you return to breakfast. They have cleared the table, but you guys were mostly done with breakfast at this point. But they're willing to give you more coffee if you wish, as you get back.
I am trying not to giggle.
Eventually, the guard who's standing outside comes out and whispers into the ear of the guy who's staring at you, and he says to you, "Come back this evening. She will talk with you."
Well, not to the guard, but I mean, this is rather disappointing. What are we going to do for the rest of the day? Does anybody else have any ideas?
Well, I'm gonna go back to the inn, have some breakfast, and we can discuss where we want to go.
Yeah,
Sounds like a plan.
sounds like a good plan.
Which side of town is the market and which side of town is the inn? Can I hit both?
Yep, you can absolutely hit both.
Then I do.
All right. The market would have any common goods.
Oh, I actually need to get to the market as well.
Including common weapons and that sort of thing. The price on weapons is a little higher than you would normally expect. A little higher than it was in Kersh. Right. But just hand wave shopping. Just pick up whatever you want, guys, and you all meet back up at the Color Animal Inn, and the day is it's probably noon-ish at this point. There's you can kind of hear rumors rustling about if you're out and about at all, talking about the explosion and so on and so forth. Hasn't been enough time for that yet. So, yep. You guys would notice there is a broadsheet at the market stands. For those of you who don't know, it's basically a newspaper. Talking about the wonderful exhibit, wonderful showing of the train yesterday, and there's a couple of that's like the cover story, and there's a couple of other stories inside of the broadsheet if you purchase it, covering things like tensions with the elves to the south, and opening up the train, talking about the train line opening up new trade routes, so on and so forth.
Yeah. I'll buy one.
Okay.
As we walk around and listen, do people seem happy? Do they seem tense? Does it seem like a casual?
The people in town today seem a lot more tense than they did yesterday. Give me insight. Is it? Yeah, I think it's insight.
Who?
Or yep, insight.
I know everything.
Who?
Holy insight, Batman. So you, at this point, you are detecting a definite undercurrent of nervousness, and you're kind of thinking, that wasn't here yesterday, and some sort of flash of inspiration gets you to cast detect magic, and just faintly in the air you sense a expired spell that is what school? Hold on, I need to know what school it is. Nope. There we go. Wizard spells. Wizard. Oh, they don't have them broken out by. They don't have them broken out by class or type anymore. Doggone it. Okay. Find a similar spell and then use that to get the class. Not. Enchantment. That is the class I was looking for. Just a faint, expired enchantment floating in the air. You can kind of catch the wisps of it just a little bit, like it was a long-term spell, but it seems to be not as effective or not as much as it would be otherwise.
Very interesting.
Something tastes strange.
That's a very good way to put it.
Yeah, that's Alfonso's way of putting it, because sorcerers are weird.
Are we all back at the inn, or where are we wandering now?
You're back together wherever you choose to be.
Guys, so something seemed suspicious when I was walking around town today, and so I cast Detect Magic, and it almost seems like there's an enchantment spell that's been all over town, and I'm wondering if that's not helping make people happy, like a happy gas, or it make them feel more calm and comfortable about how things are in the city than normal.
Have we also been affected by this spell?
Give me it would be charisma. Just give me a charisma roll. To your knowledge, you don't know. Well, I think I have a couple more charisma rolls to get, but see if anybody. There's one.
Straight
George?
Straight charisma?
Yep, just straight, charisma save. So, yeah, just straight charisma. George? George, yes, you're like, you know what? I was a lot happier yesterday than I should have been. Everybody else is like, meh.
Well, since it's my main stat, at least it's working.
What do you mean by happier? Did you get some? Did you smoke something? Did you eat some mushrooms? Or you just depressed about the train wreck?
What do mushrooms have to do with happiness?
I could tell you a lot of things.
All right.
Not now.
But
That's
yes,
Alfonso.
yes, Alfonso, you definitely felt happier
He's grown
yesterday.
up around mushrooms.
You can tell that there was a definite break this morning from when you first arrived in town, and you can thinking back, your mood was better than it should. Like it's not like somebody was like, you are happy. It's more like they just kind of turned the dial down on fear and anxiety and tension and turned the dial up on happiness and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's like, the streets were cleaner, the people were more beautiful, the sky was bluer. It was like I was on Prozac or something. Let me go look up I Feel Fantastic lyrics.
As he describes this to you guys, you're all kind of getting that taste in the back of your mouth, or that kind of unsettled feeling in the back of your mind. Like, it's like, unless somebody pointed it out to you, you'd be like, that it would be completely under the radar. But now that somebody's pointed it out to you, you're like, you're not wrong.
I hate when that happens.
So I mean, if I knew
No, he's
if
wrong.
Alfonso knew these characters, so like if he knew them, like if someone got mad whenever he was bumped on the street, he would say, "Hey, you know how you get mad when you're bumped on the street? Yesterday you didn't. Do you know
Right.
why? Because I don't."
That would explain a lot, but that's disappointing.
Yeah, it was fun until we realized that it was also artificial.
No, I mean, I'm disappointed it's worn off. I would like to be cast on me again.
It's one of those things. Well, I guess it's your character your character could believe that. It's one of those things like if you've ever had a like, I cannot think of the spell's name, charm person on you. It's like, while you're under the effect of the spell, it feels really good, but it feels wrong when the spell has worn off.
So, yeah. For timing, does it correspond to when the train exploded?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I was thinking that maybe there's a spell over the whole town. That's how she was controlling the town.
You're getting the impression from what you've discovered that there was, in fact, a spell over the whole town.
I'm starting to smell a rebellion, is what I'm starting to smell.
Yeah. Is he trying to take over Convergence as well? Or is this just happenstance?
Can any of the magical inclined tell me how those spells are maintained and what must happen that it ends suddenly?
Well, there are some spells that requires me to keep my mind focused on keeping an effect up, and if I get distracted, it would end. Or, of course, if I'm knocked unconscious or I die, but
So technically the person who was responsible could have died in the explosion, or
could have
something
died,
like
could
that?
have been knocked unconscious, could have just been distracted by the noise. Depending on who
Could have
and
turned and ran into an alleyway just as I caught sight of them.
Is there any way to put this magic into a like an artifact, like the engine of the train?
I can see a technical wonder like that to be an inspiration and happiness.
That would make sense because not everyone agrees to technological progress.
It's the happy train.
And massive restructuring in the city happened because of this train, so I can understand that not everyone would agree with it.
Maybe that was the intention of the spell, to get those people cooperating, to make the real world.
Well, maybe while the railroads being built, but afterwards, when the price of imports, plummets, people tend to accept technology.
Yeah, but
Okay,
maybe
also disregard that, because how the heck would Alfonso know that?
Do the rest of us know about that piece that got really cold and started collecting frost?
I don't know. Horgold, you were the one who found it. Did you keep it?
I gave it to Athena.
So
Yeah, I brought it in the backpack.
all right. So by this point, Athena, your backpack is cold. Like you can feel the cold radiating outward, or you can feel the heat being drawn out of yourself from this thing that's in your backpack.
Put the backpack on the table and just slide it out on the table and just look at it. It's like it was chilly when we found it, but now it's cold.
Give me a dexterity check, please.
Ooh,
I have a
dexterity.
really great idea for a small business.
Saving throw,
right
I'm
now.
guessing.
Yep, saving throw.
Wine coolers.
Shake shop.
So you reach in your bag and you grab a hold of this thing and you go to put it on the table, and you realize that your hand is incredibly cold and that your fingers are frozen to this thing, and you kind of drop it on the table, and you like this peels, like there are little peels of skin, like the surface layer of your skin left on this thing, that are frozen solid. As it sits on the table, it like immediately frosts over, and then like air can like condensing out of it starts rolling slowly away from it. Take 2 points of damage. Your fingers hurt, and they're very, very cold.
Okay, so what we do is we run this by the guards, and if they say that we can keep it, then we, find some place to set up shop, and then run a lot of water over this and turn it into ice, and then we can sell it to everyone in the middle of summer, and we'll make a lot of money.
Why would we ask the guards to do that?
No, we just need to talk to the guards so that they don't show up on our doorstep, 6 months from now, because we stole a piece of their train.
If you're in,
We're going to be
Kersh-
here 6 months. Yeah, with Anya looking for us every day.
It's up to you guys. We're all right.
We could go to a different city.
Like back home to Kersh.
And the story over, they all live
Definitely
happily
not
ever after.
Kersh.
All right. So this thing like freezes itself to the tabletop just from water ice condensing on it, and after it gets a quarter inch of like frost, like inside of, if you look at inside of the freezer, that kind of grimy frost that forms on that. After it gets a layer of that on there, the water condensing out of the air kind of slows down, tapers off. Thing is kind of frozen to the table though.
I'm gonna ask Athena, have you cast detect magic or figured out what that is?
Yes, it was abjuration,
Transmutation.
transmutation magic. And I gesture towards it, and it's cold based.
You're thinking as you study it a little longer. You're thinking it is the inverse of heat metal, cast at much higher level, or out of character, much higher level. It's a much stronger casting of basically an inverse heat metal.
Does it look like a shard of something else, like something bigger, or is it a contained piece?
It is a plate. It was flat on one side. It looked like it had bolts or something to attach it to something else, and it's a flat metal plate.
It's a heat sink.
How heavy is it?
Pound. Made out of, it is brass, or at least appears to be brass.
Yeah, but it's frozen to the table, so it will take more force than a pound of force to peel it off, I guess.
Yes.
It's frozen to the table?
Yeah,
Who poured water on it?
The air.
It sucked that much moisture out of the air that fast. And that means that it doesn't have to be a heat sink. That means that it could be a dehumidifier.
How much force is it required to pull it off of the table in pounds?
In pounds? Oh, probably 3 or if you get like a knife or something, kind of chip at it a little bit and get underneath it, it goes and kind of pops up. So the initial thing is a few pounds, but once you kind of break that layer, it just comes all at once.
Okay. I'll cast that to hold it above the table so it doesn't damage the table anymore.
Right. The exposed part that was attached to the table starts condensing water out of the air again, and you start seeing frost grow on it. It's less than 10 pounds, yes. 6 by 3 by 2, yep. Six inches by 3 inches by 2 inches thick, yep.
But yeah, what to do with it?
Take it to Anya.
Why are we taking magical artifacts to a person that we don't necessarily trust? Unless you do.
Because this one ostensibly belongs to her, and dragons get really cranky when you take their stuff.
Does
It
it belongs
to
her?
the city, probably, or the people that owns the trains, not to her.
Belongs to the company that runs the trains.
Well, we don't know who the company that runs the trains is, but Anya does, and judging by her reaction this morning, I think she would give it to them.
Or we could just go back to the rail station and inquire.
Well, if we actually do get it into Anya's hands, worst comes to worst, the train station will go to war with her.
I don't think that's the problem.
Right.
But yeah, let's go back to the train station.
At this point, this thing is like a solid block of ice, probably an inch on each dimension, bigger than it was before. And it's starting to the mist of condensed liquid is slowed down to stopped.
So it's probably like 5 pounds now because of the water.
Yep.
At least it doesn't get heavier, it's okay.
What's your guys' plans for the rest of the day?
Good question.
Very good question. I don't have any more plans.
Well, we need to get rid of it or find a use for this. And we need to discuss what we're gonna do with the Natasha versus Anya situation.
Yeah.
So, I won't lie, before, I was really leaning towards Anya. and at least accepting her going along with it for a while because she seems like I like her ideas and the fact that she was actually helping at the train station to rescue people. But after finding that enchantment, now I'm a little bit concerned.
You do realize that Natasha kills people pretty much arbitrarily and has set up the city to run on the blood of innocents?
Well, they both do, maybe.
I'm not so sure about Anya. I am about Natasha. That's why I want to talk to Anya.
Anya did rush in and rescue people on their own. You know, she did the hard work herself.
Yeah, but did she also set up the happy spell all over town?
Maybe that is set up by Natasha or some other force to, you know, lower the guards and break down the walls that they did for the train station.
Exactly. I don't know yet. I liked informed decisions. I just know that I'm not going with Natasha.
We could always question Anya about the spell. She probably noticed, if she was aware about it, she probably noticed it now.
Yeah, that's kind of why I've been trying to break into her compound all day.
Yeah, because that'll make her feel better about you being in her town. I think we should go and try to investigate, maybe talk with some people, go find out more. I don't think that we've been around town. I don't think that we've done enough. Is there like a temple to Rhea in Convergence?
Yeah, there would be a temple to Raya in Convergence. Would be probably near the south edge of town. It's from your perspective, it's a modest sized temple. It's not nearly as lavish and elaborate as the one you are familiar with or the one you serve in, but it's modest.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna head to the Temple of Rhea, and I'm gonna poke around and see if I can gather any information. They should be pretty neutral between the dragons, not really caring which rules what city. And I'll see their opinions on Anya and if they know anything about what she's been doing.
Mind if I join you, Satet?
Please feel free.
I'll join Satet.
Is there a spell to get rid of alcohol in your body?
Cure poison or remove poison? Yes, there's a spell. It's I forget what spell it is specifically, but yes, it's like cure poison.
Dang, anybody have that spell?
It'd be clerical.
Because if so, I'd like to go bar hopping.
Before I leave for the temple, I want to chip some ice off that block and put it into a glass of tea.
You can absolutely do that. It is cold and refreshing. It's also kind of weird ice because it's like layers upon layers of frost. As you actually, yeah, give me a perception check as you do that. Sure, good enough. You notice a blue liquid that almost immediately evaporates once you chip off the layer of ice on the outside. just a very light blue fluid.
There's like a blue raspberry or something flavored ice on it.
It doesn't taste like anything, but
I'm gonna demonstrate for Athena.
What? No.
Can I have that little magical ice making block? I wrap my hand. Can I have it?
Yeah.
Okay, I wrap my hand in my coat, pick up the block, and then I hold a hand with firebolt ready to underneath it, and see what the flames do to that blue liquid.
You can cast firebolt at it if you want. You don't like hold a flame in your hand from firebolt. But you can,
Really?
yeah, no, but you can cast it at the thing.
Okay, then comes the next big question: is firebolt like napalm based, or is it
It's magic.
hairspray based?
It's magic based. Does fire
Yeah, I
damage.
know. Basically, does it splash like a liquid, or does it move like a gas once it hits the target?
Once it hits the target,
Because
it's like a beam.
Because once it hits the target, it engulfs them in flame and lights anything that they are holding on fire.
Right. It does?
Yes, well, as long as the thing's on flammable, yes, it does.
I step back.
So I'm wondering,
flammable
does it
objects are lit on
splash?
fire. Well, okay.
Does it Is it a splash?
Flammable object is hit by the spell ignites if it isn't
Isn't.
being worn or carried.
Right, and it's flammable. I'm assuming you guys are not doing this inside the inn. I'm hoping.
No, we're doing this outside on the cobblestone.
All right. So this thing, as you're holding it with your hand, it's like getting progressively colder and colder and colder. It's like sucking the heat out of your hand. You cast firebolt at it, and it like you see this as I drop my thing. You see the spell impact it, and like the all of the ice evaporate off of it, just like in a puff. And it like you can just feel like your hand got warm when the firebolt hit it, like you would expect from a bolt of fire right next to your hand. Your hand was warm for a second, and then it starts cooling back off again.
I will offer you a brass to lick it.
If I can't hold firebolt in my hand, so the flame is over my hand, which would, if it's floating, it wouldn't hurt my hand.
That would be conjure flame would be what that would be. Then
if I can't do that, I'm putting it on the ground before I cast firebolt.
Sure.
I'm not stupid.
So, well, okay. So you cast firebolt at it again, or just describing it. It's like the heat gets. You see the heat make the thing hotter, and then it just kind of sucks into, or the heat kind of sucks into it, and the thing kind of you start seeing water condense on it, and then you start seeing frost form on it, and then you kind of just see it getting colder and colder.
And the blue stuff does nothing.
Correct.
I'll pick it up with the mage hand again before it freezes to the ground.
All right, you're holding it in your mage hand.
Saytet, you're sure the blue stuff wasn't really, really sweet, right?
I could not taste a thing from it.
It evaporated so fast that it was imperceptible.
Oh, the blue stuff evaporated.
Yep.
Okay. That's completely different.
All right. So Satet and Athena, you guys are heading towards the Temple of Raya. As you go into the temple, the people who are there, the priests who are there. Oh, welcome, brother. It's good to see a fellow follower of Raya. Have you been in town long? Are you traveling?
Yes, just arrived yesterday from out of town.
Oh,
thought I'd stop by and pay my respects and ask a few questions.
Oh, absolutely! You're welcome here. It's good to see somebody from out of town. Most of the followers of Raya we get in are the like farmers and people wanting good luck for their planting and so on and so forth. But good, well, welcome. Come in, have a seat.
How long have you been with the temple?
I have been a priest here for 10 years or so. and he is maybe 20 or 25. You know, got a my brain is resetting. It's like, oh yeah, I've been here for about 10 or 15 or about 10 years.
How do you like Convergence? Have you really enjoyed your time?
Oh, yeah, I grew up here in town. It's good now. It's good. Give me is it insight? Yeah, give me an insight roll, and Athena, give me a like history. Your insight is amazing. Give me like a history roll, or actually Holokal or Morkosh would be better for that, but if they're there.
I don't think either of them are here.
Okay. Sure.
I am not there.
You're not there? Okay.
No, Alfonso does not go into temples.
Satet, your insight tells you that he's kind of avoiding a subject a little bit. Your history, Zerder, tells you that he would have been a child. The kind of the clue in his sentence was he was a child when Convergence was conquered.
Well, you've been here a long time. You've probably seen a lot of changes.
Oh yes, absolutely. The town has been growing. We have had good harvests. Praise Raya, you know. He does his little whatever sort of obeisance, whatever that word is. You guys do. Yeah, it's been a time. It's been a time of been a good set of good seasons.
That's very good to hear. Have you ever thought about transferring and exploring the rest of the world?
I have a little bit, but this place is so I grew up here. I like living here. This is my home. I'm happy to live here in town.
How have the people seemed? Have they been happy? Is it gotten better for them over the last few years, or how are they?
Oh yes, it's been wonderful. There's been much less strife lately. Over the last few years, it's been a wonderful time to be. You see progress, you see new shops opening up, you see people starting new businesses and people moving into town, and
What do you think of the train? Have you ever gotten to ride it? Seems exciting.
Oh, no, I do not have enough money to ride the train. Besides, yesterday was the first day it opened, and I heard there was an accident this morning with it.
Yes, that was unfortunate, but I'm sure they'll rebuild.
I'm sure they will. I mean, there's got to be a lot of people who are investing and really hoping for this thing to work out.
So does the temple have...
go ahead.
I was just going to ask if the temple has any interaction with the leadership of the city. Are they involved with any like council decisions or involvement with how the city?
I mean, there might be some. We are one of the main temples in town, of course. I think there's a little bit, but I'm not. He kind of motions at the broom that he was pushing before he walked in. I'm not. An important member of. I help with the church. I'm not like politically. I'm not involved with that sort of thing.
Is there anyone else here, like the head of the temple?
She should be around somewhere. She ran off this morning to help with the accident, and I don't think I've seen her come back yet this afternoon.
What's your name?
Yeah, would you mind sharing her name?
Absolutely. As soon as I find it. I hate you guys so much. No, absolutely. It is Hungarian. There we go. 96. Male, female, personal names. Emise. Her name is Emise Abel. I really need to write that down now.
Well, thank you for your time. If you don't mind, I'd like to just explore the temple, and if you see her, let her know I'm looking for her. I just want to have a talk, see how things are going.
Absolutely, of course. For a fellow worshiper, the temple is always open.
If there's ever anything you want to get off your chest that you don't want to talk to your local temple members about, feel free to talk to me. You know where
sure. I absolutely. That's. I mean, if I ever feel like I need to share with a wandering priest, I will.
I have a question for you.
Absolutely, madam.
You said there's less strife now than there was a few years ago. But how big was the difference? Was it like all out quarrels and fighting every day and then just nothing? Or
Let's see how much he knows. He knows about that much. All right. Well, there was after. I mean, he kind of asides you. After the town was conquered, there was a partisan effort to reinstate the royal house, but I think they either were all killed off or they all ran away because that hasn't been active in a while now. At least not that I've heard of.
So after the conquering of Convergence, there was fighting for what kind of leadership the town should have.
Well, yeah. I mean, we used to be a country. I mean, my parents tell me of the day when Convergence, or when Gosan marched with Phalun and tried to conquer Kartuk. But those days are long gone.
Are your parents still?
My pa is. He has a shop in the market. He kind of gives you a rough direction. Gives you a location. Pa, I mean, his just ask for Martin. And he gives you a location. Yeah. If you're around this evening, I could when I'm off work, I can take you to meet him.
Certainly. What time are you done?
Around 8.
We may have to take you up on that offer.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. Continuing on.
Mm-hmm.
Out of character world building things, clocks, magical and mechanical devices to tell the time of day are not uncommon. They're not like not everybody has one, but things like a clock on a tower visible from around the city or around the area would be a thing that would exist. But continue. Sorry. So he would have a concept of hours in the day.
Like, would my cell phone have a clock on it?
Right. All right. So let's go ahead and we're gonna pull away from you guys for a little bit. Where is okay? So Alfonso is hanging out near the train.
Alfonso's trying to get mugged.
Alfonso is failing at getting mugged. People are very, very skittish, and the town guard is like patrolling pretty heavily.
Plus, no one wants to mug someone with a component pouch.
That is also true.
He's going to the accident site, and he's just going to watch.
Okay.
All day until we are ready to deal with Anya.
So as you watch, you see a group of people wearing some sort of like uniform clothing, and they stand around at the site of the train, or site of the accident, and eventually a train engine, and behind it is a large flat-topped train car pulls up behind it, and you see wooden bollards, and you're thinking some sort of ironwood railing or rails, and it's just loaded down with supplies, and a person hops off the back and concentrates, and you start seeing the earth move around. Looks like they're probably preparing the rail bed. So, and if you watch, you can detect that they are casting. It's like he's casting spells to form the earth into a proper rail bed for the rails. All right, Hollock and Horgold and Morkosh, which Morkosh dropped out. What are you guys up to?
I am wandering around town looking for my kind, and my kind I mean thieves.
Eventually you are able to see thieves markings on a couple of streets, and you find a man kind of lurking in a area where you can kind of watch the market, just kind of hanging out. You're pretty sure he is a person who is guarding an entrance rather than a person who is or he's guarding a place rather than a person who is casing a joint.
I'm asking about how is the law here? Are we treated well?
He kind of jumps in surprise at your use. I'm assuming you're using Thieves' Cant.
Yes.
Okay, so he kind of jumps in surprise, and he kind of blinks a couple times in confusion, and then he responds in Thieves' Cant, which is a little different than what you're used to, but you can still kind of, you can figure out what he's saying. He's like, most of the guards, they don't beat you up for no reason, and they some of them accept bribes, some of them don't. You kind of learn where you can be and which guards you can work with.
And if I acquire some work, then where do I have to look? Who do I have to speak?
Depends on. He kind of scratches his kind of thinks about it a little bit, scratches his face a little bit, and he's like, well, it depends on the kind of work. I mean, if you want to set up a gambling operation or something like that, then you're gonna have to talk with the local people who are around you. But I can point you at a good fence. He kind of motions behind him like this is a fence. You're getting the impression that there's no hierarchy of crime like you're used to. There's no you have a boss that you have to talk to get permission to do a robbery, that sort of thing. It's a little more disorganized, or a lot more disorganized than what you're used to.
So he's basically having a gambling establishment here.
He doesn't.
That's what I got out of it.
He doesn't have a gambling establishment here. He's the front to, or this place is a fence.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, my English is not that good. Maybe.
Sorry. A fence is a person who is willing to buy stolen goods, and they give you a place to sell ill-gotten goods. They're willing to buy stolen goods. And they don't give you as much money as their goods are worth, but they are then the ones who then go on and convert them into gotten goods as opposed to ill-gotten goods.
Yeah. Oh well, that's useful information.
Mm-hmm.
I thank the man, and I will head back to the pub.
All right. Holocall. What are you up to?
Actually, I am not very sure what to do because I have no clue what to do. If that sounds right, I think I will stay at the inn.
All right.
Or maybe go a bit sightseeing. I don't know. Something not leading anywhere, at least.
Sure. Give me a either investigate or insight, whichever is better for you as you're sightseeing around town. See how good your guard senses are. You don't notice anything. All right, so afternoon passes, evening approaches. What you guys up to this evening?
I think we all meet up at the pub.
Yeah.
Has Enos ever come back to the temple?
Enos. Emis?
Enos, whatever.
Emis doesn't work at the temple. Emis was the father's name.
No, Martin was the father's name.
Yep.
Oh,
This was the head priest.
right. I have that in my notes, and I have completely forgotten it. And if you hang out at the temple until probably 6 or 7 in the evening, then yes, she would return to the temple at that point.
Yeah, can you spell that for me?
Yes,
Emis.
Emise. Emise.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to go back and talk to her. Basically, I'm just going to ask a very similar line of questions. But I, had some stuff.
She kind of brushes you off a little bit. And she doesn't seem super interested in answering questions. She looks like the look on her face is just a little worried as she comes back to the temple.
Okay, the one separate thing, I want to ask her if she's ever heard of an object that absorbs all heat and then it stays really cold.
Let me see what she would. Really? She rolled that? She's like, not really. She is really unobservant.
Okay. Typical administrator. Okay,
Right.
Well, thank you. And I will head back to the...
Okay.
Well, if everybody is at the pub, I will share the information that we might be... I have an address where I can sell the item if we want to.
That's nice to know.
I feel like we should hold on to it for a little while, but keep it secret, keep it safe.
Plus, it can buy us more political capital than it can, gold pieces.
Do we know if this was a part of the original train or if it was something else attached later?
You guys would have yesterday. At least a couple of you saw something that looked like this bolted to the train.
I saw,
Yes.
at least. That was attached to the train yesterday when we arrived.
Yeah,
So-
but this is a different train, right? Because the train yesterday already left.
The train that arrived today, the cars looked slightly different than the train that left yesterday. So yes, you're thinking a different train.
Maybe the one starting from Kartuk coming here.
Yeah, maybe.
How do they get two trains on the same track? Won't they collide?
You have sections of rails that are doubled, and you have.
I know.
Oh,
Do
Athena
you
doesn't.
even
Athena doesn't,
watch
right.
this channel?
Also, yes, you get run over by trains a lot in this channel. I mean, wait, what? Sorry, continuing on.
So, guys, I was talking to a member of the temple, and he makes it sound like things have been getting better, and it hasn't just been super recent. It's been over the last few years, and he seems okay, though there's an underpinning of something I'm wanting to know more about. And I'm going to meet with his father, who was around before the war, and try to gather more information about what's going on.
Yeah, we
War
promised
between who?
this province in Katuka, I think.
Yes.
Would we all pretty much know about the war?
If you're older than, say, 25, you would remember the war. If you're older than, I think, Morkosh actually fought in the trailing end of the war as Kartuk finally finished conquering the capital is Piroshkazlo. I think that's Phalun. Or that's Gosan. Either way, I can look it up quick, but as they were finishing conquering the country to the southeast of Kersh. Yeah,
Anyway, at about 8, I'm going to go meet this person, and we're going to go talk to some people that were here before the changeover in leadership and see if we can get more history and layout to how the city is running, and if maybe we can get some more information on what's going on.
Yeah, that's a good idea, but I want to make it a short visit though, because well, we didn't promise Enya to have an answer the next day, but we told her can we sleep a night over it? So I think she expects an answer soon.
Absolutely.
Right. Are you all going to head to... I have forgotten his name.
Martin's
house.
I think it should just be like me and Athena. We were the only two invited.
Okay.
I will join, but stay outside.
Okay.
If the trains are done, I'm gonna go to Anya's. Just sit and wait and stare at guards and drive them crazy with message.
Your attempt at driving them crazy with message is ineffectual, although they look annoyed at you. The trains...
You haven't seen what I've been doing.
The trains, however, are done. So we'll rotate back around to that in a little bit, because the trains would have ended fairly late in the evening, so probably Athena and Satet visiting the father would happen before that. So you two go to Martin's house, or Martin's shop, and it looks very much like your shop, Athena, where the base floor is the workshop area, and there's a living quarters above it. This looks to be some sort of crafting, woodworking type shop. There's like art as opposed to or finishing cabinets as opposed to doors or like door installs sort of thing. And Martin and his son are outside, kind of sitting in front of the shop, chatting lightly as you guys walk up.
Good
and
evening.
he kind of waves at you, and he says, you can hear him say to his father, "It's like, oh yeah, these are the two that I told you about. Came by the temple earlier today."
Good evening, father of. I don't know his name.
You didn't ever get a name from him.
No, that's a good point. Good evening. It's a pleasure to meet.
Oh, wonderful to have travelers through town. Travelers through town of my son's faith. It's good to see you. How does this evening treat you?
It has been good. Your son was such a help to us earlier, and we are not from around here, so we thought we would just gather and talk with some people and get to know and see if this is a place that maybe we wanted to commit to. And he suggested that you have been around for a very long time. I'm assuming much of your life.
He kind of gives you a look like, "Are you calling me old?" But he's like, "Yes, I've lived in town my entire life."
So
What is your charisma?
It's pretty average. So, do you like it here? Do you feel
He's like,
things have been
"Come
getting
on inside.
better?
Come on inside. Have some supper." And he leads you inside.
Yum.
He feeds you some sort of like probably fish and plant dish, like freshwater fish, which you guys aren't super familiar with. You're used to saltwater fish, so it's a little different than what you're used to. He feeds, and he he feeds you guys, and he's like, "Okay, so what were you asking about?"
So Martin, what do you job?
What do I job? I run the shop. I own I own everything you see below you, and I own the building even. And it's been a lot of hard work, but I was hoping my son would follow in after me, but he had a higher calling in life.
So business has been good. Has it been getting better, or?
I mean, business has been fine. It's been good lately, actually. Yeah, a lot more people looking for fine cabinetry than there used to be.
Do they charge much for taxes here? Do you have to pay a lot of taxes to the city?
Well, I mean, I just pay the normal amount of taxes. I pay what I owe.
They don't seem excessive or anything. You're
Oh,
happy.
I mean, no, it's taxes. I don't necessarily like having to pay them, but they keep the guards in the street and the street mended, and it's pretty good. Although they stopped building, or they stopped fixing the wall here a while back, and that's a little sad to see our city walls go. But other than that, it's fine.
So, are you lucky you don't have to pay like anyone to do business here or anything? That's just more curiosity, because where I'm from, the mafia seems to run everything.
Oh no, I don't have to pay protection money. I mean, we don't have anything like that in town. You must be from quite a ways away if you have worried about that.
Yes. Oh, by the way, this food is delicious. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
you're welcome. It's good to have somebody who appreciates my food, and he kind of makes a glance at his son.
Oh, quite lovely indeed.
So, I hate to ask this because I know it could be sensitive, but were you involved in the?
I mean, I kept my head down as much as I could. I was never a fighter. I mean, before they conquered the city, I was in the militia. But other than that, no, I kept my head down. It wasn't. No, I didn't want to fight.
Do you know? Does the militia here? Do they require service? Do they recruit? Do they draft? Do they bring people in, or is it just a paid service?
I mean, it's just a job like any other. People want to become guards to help protect the city, and and they join up, and yeah, there's no draft or anything, not anymore. Still, I mean, I'm curious why you're asking all the questions about the city. I mean, is there something going on that?
No, I'm part of the Temple of Rhea census service, and so we're just going around asking people, "Are you a citizen of this country or no?"
I mean, yeah, I'm a citizen of Kartuk. That's what they tell me.
Do you worship Rhea or one of the other temples?
I mean, I can't hardly not worship Rhea when my son is a priest.
That's excellent. So, I mean, as long as you're happy here and you don't have any issues, if you have any issues you'd like to talk about, I would be happy to listen.
He looks at you kind of confused, and he's like, I mean, I don't know.
Can I don't know if like a perception check or insight.
Insight.
That like his reaction is artificial, like he can't think about things, like he's prevented.
Give
from,
me
like, the
insight.
spell. Oh Jesus!
You're not sure of anything.
Totally convinced he's normal.
Yep.
All right. Well, I mean, unless Athena has anything she wants to ask, I guess I will just thank him for dinner and encourage his son to continue the service and devotion to Rhea.
All right. You guys have a full belly and a head full of questions, quite possibly, as you head out of his shop. The town seems to be kind of winding down as evening rolls in. What you gonna do? Who is anybody gonna join Alfonso at his vigil of annoying the guards?
I'm going to go back to the inn and try to meet up with everyone. I guess I don't realize Alfonso's out doing.
I've got one guard's ear to twitch. The other ones, like his eyelids are shaking a little bit, but nothing more than that.
All right. So if you guys are all meeting up at the inn, you notice that Alfonso is not there.
I lost sound.
Yeah, so did I.
You break sentence mid-sentence.
Oh, sorry.
Alfonso is...
If you guys meet back up at the inn, you'll notice that Alfonso is not there.
Well, the plan was to meet with Enya afterwards this evening, so I guess we'll head that way.
Well, guys, I didn't find out anything more from Martin. Just sounds like they've been pretty prosperous. Things have been going well. Things are growing, and everyone seems at least reasonably happy.
Now that I've actually managed to calm down, I lost it.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to ask Martin the same thing I asked his son.
Oh, sure.
About the whole strife and after the conquering and how, if it was overnight change or it was a more gradual change.
He tells you that for a few years there were like loyalists would attack the city. Often they would attack from inside the city, and they would spend a few weeks. There would be a couple weeks of riots and people basically trying to reconquer the city, and then the army from Kartuk would basically break in or take a gate and then just sweep through the city and wipe people, basically wipe out the rioters, wipe out the protester, or not protesters, but the people trying to basically reconquer the city. And then after like a few years back, then it just kind of petered out and died. He's under the impression that the armies basically killed everybody off and there's nobody left to fight.
And the insight check, I lost everything. I didn't. Was that something I could have seen?
Sure.
Something?
Yeah, you could have had an insight check. You could have had one as well.
No.
Nope. That's a very similar roll.
Yeah. Okay, that's me.
All right.
If you're gonna load the dice, load them the other way.
Yeah, you're supposed to put the 23 in the left side. Hollock, to answer your question, you have seen no other organized troops but the city guard and Anya's troops, and the city guard is not deferential to her troops, but they seem to be accepting of their presence.
They're cooperating.
Yes, they're cooperating. There doesn't seem to be any real animosity there. You have a history in an army. Think along the lines of two co-located or two like battalions next to each other. You have they interact with each other, but they're definitely they're two separate units, but they're not likely to fight each other unless they're super bored. Is the kind of the feeling that you're getting from them.
Just bored?
Don't let your troops get bored, friends. It's a bad plan.
Bored and drunk, I can believe, but
Yeah.
just bored?
If convergence belongs to Kartuk, how does Anya ruling here fit the greater picture? You didn't get the impression from today that she is in charge. Or at least you haven't gotten that impression yet.
Meanwhile, Alfonso's screaming in his head, "Let me ask the questions, just get to the house." I have some very good questions I've been stewing on all week.
That's good. We will get there shortly if people decide to show up. Otherwise, we'll just get there. We'll rotate it back around to you. So the question I have for everybody who isn't Alfonso is, are you headed towards Anya's place?
Has anyone received a summons from Anya yet? Do we know? Does she want to talk to us?
She has not summoned
Yes.
you. Oh yes,
She has not-
sort of. She told Alfonso that he should come back in the evening if he wants to talk to her.
Yeah, and she told us the day before that we had a night to think about our alliance with her or with Natasha. So it's probably a good thing to head back to her.
Yeah, should we decide as a group? What do we want to tell her? Do we want to stand united or each man to...
I'm not gonna try and influence you more than our discussion this morning, but I have made a deal with Natasha, and I will stand by that deal.
Me too.
Can I, go back in time and say, guys, wait until I ask the questions before we decide whether it's on you or not?
That's fine. You can have your conversation before.
Because last episode, we really did not get enough information on her.
All right, so you guys, those of you who are going to Anya's place,
I'm going with or leave with them, but I'm...
Yeah, I'll head with whoever's saying.
All right, So those of you who are going to her place see Alfonso outside, annoying some guards who look stoic.
Well, I'm sitting on a park bench, and then there's two guards in front of me, a few yards in front of me, looking straight ahead, not at me, and they are stoically trying not to yawn. Because
Right.
I keep telling them to yawn.
That's just mean. All right. Let me just. I gotta roll something here. Hold on a second. Yeah, as everybody else approaches, one of them does yawn. In fact, and then he looks. He looks angry at Alfonso. But they're standing outside the place.
I'm here.
Well, we just head up to the guards, I guess, and ask them if we can enter, because we might made up our minds and we want to speak to Enya.
One of them.
How well are they dressed?
They're dressed in well. They are dressed in well-fitting but not tailored. They have like a green shirt and a green vest, and there are brass. The green and brass outfit that you guys are familiar with. It's well made, well fitting, but it's not like tailored, expensive clothing. It's moderately expensive.
Do they act like beef eaters? You know, the Palace Guard in London.
Not especially.
Like not moving at all?
Oh no, they move, they sit down, they one of them will go inside and a different person will come out, or one of them will go inside for a while and leave their friend alone, and then they come out. They're not like stoic, never moving, never whatevering. They're not like beef eaters, no.
Oh, okay. Then I give them each a brass pieces. I pass. No, not a little underhandedly.
All right, they kind of blink at you, and as you guys approach, one of them opens the door for you to enter, and they accept your brass piece. They kind of look at you confused, but
apology.
All right, you guys enter the room. You see Anya. She is sitting on the chair where you saw her yesterday. She has a chain kind of draped across the, well, I can give an example. Across the kind of back of a couple of her fingers, and she is quietly sitting. Perception checks from everybody who's here, please.
Oh no.
All right, sounds good, Incher. That's good. Hollock and Alphonse. Her hair looks frazzled. Her eyes are a little puffy. She is you're getting the impression of somebody who has been crying but is not currently at that stage of emotion.
This late in the day?
That's what I'm giving you. And she kind of looks up and says, "Well, it's good to see you back again. Have you made your mind up?"
No, milady. If I could ask a few questions, it might help clear things up.
She kind of just gestures at you and kind of rests her elbow on the arm of her chair. And sure, questions. Go ahead.
Do you support organized crime?
No. Why would I do that?
Who runs the city?
the city is run by a council of people appointed by the Kartuk, the king of Kartuk.
Where is your mother?
Mom? I haven't seen her in years. The last I knew, she was off in her she was off in her home. I haven't seen her in probably a decade or more. I don't know where she's at. She could be anywhere.
Are you responsible for all the magic cloud of happiness over this town?
She kind of looks up at you in surprise. Ooh, that's gonna be hard, Satet. Does it? Can you bring up the spell so I can see, so I don't have to look it up, please? Verbal, somatic, and material.
And it takes up to 10 minutes.
It takes up to 10 minutes.
Oh, no, that's the duration. The casting time.
Right. The fair answer is probably not. You don't have still spell, or whatever it is that allows you to cast without motion.
Subtle spell.
Subtle spell. Thank you. So you're fairly sure that you would need something very, very, very distracting to have a chance to cast the spell without it being noticed.
What we normally do is for the verbal and somatic is for the verbal sleight of hand. So you do sleight of hand that you don't notice it, and for the verbal, that's you need some other sounds.
Right. It's fairly quiet in here, so you would be able to cast it like out, not in this current conversation. I'll put it to you that way. You're pretty sure you'd get caught.
I'll wait. I was just trying to see if I could do it on the sly. Like, I was, trying to get a feel for if I.
It's got verbal and somatic components. Probably not, unless you have subtle spell, which is a sorcerer only thing. I think maybe. I'm not sure.
I don't have a book.
I think
I just know I have it.
Right. Rolling back, I don't even remember where we were in our conversation.
Questions. Just one last question. Why are you crying?
Oh, right. She looked at you in surprise, but didn't answer your previous question.
I can't even remember what the previous question is.
The previous question. Go ahead.
It was about the spell above the city.
Right. The surprise was like how did you notice that sort of thing?
Well, then there's two questions. Did you know there was a spell like that over the city?
She again doesn't answer.
Any way to read her face?
She again doesn't answer your question, and her face is closing down. That kind of change of expression when somebody is going from open and like listening and all of that, and kind of that defensive look that people get on their face. And yeah, okay. But she again doesn't answer that question.
And just one last question, if I can try your patience.
You are trying my
patience. Why
patience.
were you crying?
She kind of takes a heavy sigh, and how would she respond? She kind of takes a heavy sigh and says, because, well, okay, so let me think. Now, I'm trying to think what her character would say given the way this conversation has gone. She kind of she kind of brushes her hand over her face and says, I think you should leave.
Really? Because depending on what you're crying about, you have my loyalty. I don't know about my fellows, though.
She kind of looks at you. Let me give her a roll. Give me a charisma check, please, Alfonso. And tell me if you're being honest or deceptive.
Honest.
Okay. She kind of takes a couple deep breaths, and her face opens back up a little bit, and she's like, because I was sure that this was over is why, and the death today was unnecessary.
Would it be better if we came back in the morning?
I don't need to come back in the morning. I'm swearing my allegiance to her.
I'm sorry. I'm asking her that. I'm not talking to you, George.
She kind of, it's, I may be more composed in the morning, but it is up to you. Have you made your decision? Your friend seems to believe in me, but have the rest of you decided?
You thought what was over? Your war with Natasha?
No. The strife this town has seeing, their feelings of
Enmity.
their feelings of, yes, enmity towards Kartuk, their senseless need to stay in the past, to remain what they were instead of growing into what they could be. And she kind of sighs and just kind of looks at you.
Yeah, that's my mind made up.
Please, I won't harm you if you do decide to stay with Natasha, but I will ask you to leave town.
So, guys, rest of the party, if Lady Anya permits, otherwise we'll take this outside.
She nods and exits the room. She is playing with something in her hand as she leaves.
So, what we have here is a choice between two dragons. One dragon literally runs on the blood of the people, and the other dragon is somehow quite disturbed and saddened whenever people die. And it's not that hard for me. And furthermore, she puts a spell around the city just to get people to stop fighting.
Hold on a second. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm not going with organized crime. I'm not. I've seen it at its worst. I've seen it at its best. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, but as she said, she thought this was over. The strife, the fighting for what was. You think Kersh will bend over like that if Convergence won't?
Well, I would like to ask her a few more questions. In fact, I'd like to ask her for a job, but yeah, I think it will. If you do it right. I think it can. I think we can do it without blood loss. I think
Ooh.
if the nobles are handled right, the nobles will not split off into splinter groups and then wage a civil war as Kersh comes under control of, the rest of the civilized world.
There
I
will
see.
be fighting.
Using magic to control the populace is wrong on so many levels.
Oh, would
It
you,
happens every day.
with this magic, did it make you do anything that you wouldn't have done otherwise?
I'm gonna stand up and start just slowly wandering around a room and looking around as they discuss.
Okay.
I'm not gonna leave the room.
The room.
Because I absolutely.
Okay, so the room is. You can see. You can see the guards outside. They occasionally glance in through the open shutters of the room, but yes, you can wander this room. It's a combined kind of dining area and like the most of the front of the house is like a combined dining area and sitting area. Sorry, continue.
Does the matter? Did it make you do anything that you wouldn't have done otherwise? Because I agree, using a spell to control people is absolutely wrong, but she didn't really control people, did she?
And that might
She
not
just
be
made them a
from
little more
her. She
helping.
didn't tell anything about it. That spell could also be from Kartuk.
But she is working for Katuk, from my point of view.
She just wants to keep the peace. That's my view.
Yeah, and from what I'm gathering, not very well unless there's a spell over the city.
Well, she rushed in to the accident that they had, if it's caused by somebody or not. She rushed in to help, first-hand, with her own hands. That says something.
Natasha would never do that.
You are absolutely, all of you are sure that Natasha would never do that. Yes.
I mean, she feeds prisoners to her kids. She would never do anything, good.
Yeah, that guy that we interrogated, that was a snack later on.
Oh,
Yes, I'm aware that was a snack for her daughter.
Sorry, guys. The fighting loyalties is just okay. Continue. I'm having a happy.
But he did break the law.
So he become a snack?
When the sentence for treason is death, he died.
Yeah.
And who sentenced him to treason? As far as I know, he was never sentenced.
Overwhelming evidence against him.
Does not equal a sentence.
Natasha is the ruler of Kersh.
Yeah, but is it a good ruler?
Maybe not, but it's the one we have and the one I agreed to help.
Well, you could change that sentence into the one you had.
And you would probably have the same effect in Kersh that you have here in Convergence. Now with the fighting for what has come back.
Did anyone see how fast he was eaten?
It was not instantaneous, but it was. It wasn't like torture.
See, that's the only problem that I have with it, is that he wasn't dead before he was eaten. If they hung him and then he was eaten, I wouldn't have cared. But eating him, so basically we drag him from the house, he's summarily sentenced, found guilty, interrogated, before he's found guilty, he's interrogated. I mean, after he's found guilty, he's interrogated. They didn't interrogate him before he was found guilty, and then he's executed.
We don't know if that's anything different here, but still, It's more land, a better chance of winning and being on the winning team.
I was expecting either Anya or her mother to be sitting on this town. And if Anya was sitting on Convergence, I was expecting her mother to be sitting on Kartuk. And her mother ruling Kartuk, Anya ruling Convergence, because the same way Natasha rules Kersh. And she doesn't. We have a rare opportunity of being allies with a dragon who actually values people
Yep,
as more than livestock.
I agree with you, Alfonso.
But I think Natasha is way more powerful. She only rules one city and stands against Katuk around her for God knows how long.
20 years.
Those who stand up to a dictator may be swept to the side, but only those who stand ever get a voice. In other words, I'd rather take Anya and die than go back with Natasha.
After you guys take your time and take your time talking, I'm gonna do a kind of a cut here. So, out of character, I am not going to force you guys to stay together. If the party decides to split ways, some of you staying with Natasha, some of you staying with Anya, we will work out what that looks like between games. We may decide to have you bring in a new character if you're all alone on your side, but I'm wanting to make sure that you realize that there is no wrong answer here. I don't want you to feel like that I am forcing you to choose one side or the other. Okay. Back to in character. We after a while, probably half an hour, as your conversation sounds kind of like it's winding down, Anya returns to the room and looks at all of you and says simply, if I can have your loyalty, please stay. And if I have not convinced you that I am the way forward for this land, for this continent, for this peoples, you are free to go. But I do ask that you leave town, and I will have people follow you and make sure that you either teleport out or are quit of this town this eve.
Hey, sorry, follow up, because I just skimmed the last week.
Yep.
Did anyone directly ask her about the assassination attempt on Natasha?
Don't think so.
I don't think so.
I'm assuming she's guilty. That Anya did it. Almost did it, rather.
I mean, that's a question you can ask.
Yeah, I'm gonna straight up ask her. What do you know, or were you involved with the assassination attempt against Natasha?
She looks at you with a little bit of fire in her eyes, and she says, "Yes, I tried to kill her. And I will try again."
I appreciate your honesty.
It is not my preferred way to deal with people, but sometimes the head of the snake must be removed.
I start turning towards the door and I say, it's not necessarily that I don't believe the world should move forward, but I don't believe you capable of that at this time.
She she bows in your direction and lets you go.
Yeah, I'm moseying out the doors.
Okay.
I follow
I
Athena.
message Athena. One desperate plea. Athena, I'm 19. Did you think that we would get this far?
No. Is the only answer you get. If your cast message.
Yeah, that was message.
Okay.
You just get a no back. Nothing else.
Hollock, you had said something when...
I said I follow Athena out.
All right. Alfonso and Torgold are staying.
Yes.
Satet.
I've not yet fully made up my mind, but I am intrigued. However, and I will stay. However, I will take no direct action against Natasha at this.
She looks a little frustrated at you, but nods. We'll cover what Morakash does when he is back. And I think we will call it there for the day. Athena and Hollock Hall, and Morakash, whichever way he goes. You guys are led to the teleportation circle in the center of town. And the the guard Anya's guard who goes with you, basically pays the man for your transport to wherever you choose to go. It's a not insignificant sum of brass to use the circle. Horgold and Alfonso and Satet. Anya looks at you, and looks at Satet and says, "You won't take any direct action against Natasha. I won't force any of you to do so. But I would ask that you remain outside of Kersh until this is all resolved, unless you are willing to go back and work for me there." And she kind of will, yeah, we'll end there. So I want to thank everybody for watching. It's been a very interesting show. We will have to work out with the players how we want to handle, if we want to have two separate, so it's like have separate. We'll figure it out. We'll make sure everybody continues to have fun playing the game. I'm not exactly sure which set of people will follow, because it's almost an even split. It depends a lot on Morakash. So we will go ahead and end there. It has been a great having everybody here. This game has taken very interesting turns, and I hope everybody continues to enjoy. There's a very real chance that this will not be played again for 2 weeks, or 3 weeks rather, because of the holidays coming up. Give us some time to work out what everything looks like. In the meantime, I might play, or we might join up on voice, but not stream it. In the meantime, in the intervening weeks. But thank you everybody for watching. It's been great having you here. Thanks for everybody who has been listening or watching on YouTube. I hope you are enjoying the game. Thanks everybody for watching. Bye.